Okay, good evening, Rabbi. Parshas Re'ei. Bunim atem lashem Elokeichem. The Torah Kadosh in this week's Parsha says, Bunim atem lashem Elokeichem. You are considered the children of the Eibishter. The Maharal in Masechta Shabbos, Daf Kuf Yud Tesamid Beis, quotes this pasuk to teach us a Yisoid Godol in Klal Yisrael's Hishtatfus in the Bria Sa'olam. I apologize. Excuse me, Rabbi Sai. There's a Shiur. Bunim atem lashem Elokeichem. Zogt the Gemara Shabbos Daf Kuf Yud Tes. Kol hamispalel be'erev Shabbos. Person who davens on erev Shabbos, v'oimer vayechulu, und zogt vayechulu, nicht mehr von dem. Zogt vayechulu. The Gemara doesn't say yet. The Gemara says zogt vayechulu. Zogt vayechulu. Whether he said it in Kiddush, whether he said it in Shmoyne Esrei, whether he said it afterwards, Gemara steht nicht. The Gemara zogt gezogt vayechulu. The Gemara said two things. Kol hamispalel be'erev Shabbos v'oimer vayechulu. Vayechulu, Rabbi says, zogt man nicht in erev Shabbos. Vayechulu zogt man Freitag b'nacht. Steht vayispalel be'erev Shabbos v'oimer vayechulu. That's the lashon of the Gemara. Okay? Nase shutev la'kadosh baruch hu. You're considered a partner. B'maise bereishis. Mitten zogen vayechulu bist a shutev in the bria. That's what it says in the Gemara. You didn't have to roll up your sleeves. You didn't have to get your hands dirty. You just had to say one thing, Vayechulu hashamayim va'oretz v'chol tzvam, and you say, Vayichal lekim b'yom hashvi malachta asher osa, ki v'yishavas v'chulu mekom malachta, and you are already a shutev. As I state in the Gemara. Behemshach, the Gemara says, Kol hamispalel be'erev Shabbos v'omer vayechulu, shnei malochei hasharis hamilaven lo yisa'odam. Two malacha sharis that are malava, meinichim yodeim al roishoi, laying the hand, put their hands on his head, ve'oimrim loi, v'sor avoinech v'chatosech techaper. You have no averis. You are what we call in English squeaky clean. Yeah, clean. Zwei malachim zogen, du bist rein. First is the getan. What did you do? Has gedavent gesagt vayechulu. Zwei Sachen steht. Das steht in the Gemara. The Maharal, Kefi Erkeinu, will try the best we can to explain. We'll see how much time we have these Gemaras. We'll start it now. One of the reasons I chose this Maharal is because it's geboit on the concept of Bunim atem lashem Elokeichem. But also, when I was in Eretz Yisrael last week, I had an opportunity to go into Reb Nachman Biederman, Soll sein gesund. That's the brother of Reb Melech Biederman. I had an opportunity to go into him, and he was talking to me about, and he spoke to me, and I was there with my son, about the zchus of being mechabed the Shabbos. Gesagt, Shabbos complained to the Eibishter and said, "Ich hab nicht kan zivig." Every day, hota zivig. Every day has a connection with something else. Ich hab nicht. So the Rebbe Shalom said, your zivig is going to be Bnei Yisrael. That's your zivig. Der gesagt, a mezichta zivig. If you're looking for a zivig, you want a skula, be mechabed the Shabbos. That's what Reb Nachman Biederman told me. Be mechabed the Shabbos, because that way you're being mezavig the Shabbos karoi, Das du solche sein für Zivugim für die Kinderlach. Sollte mir gesucht. That's what he said to me. So, Mamela will ich übersuchen etwas wegen this subject. Let's see what it says. So if you have a photocopy over here, let's go through it a bissela. Kvar bi'arnu lefi, I underline this. Kifi lefi, she Yisrael lehem nivru min Hashem yizbarach be'etzem v'loi kemoi ha'umas. Sha'av shehem nivru min Hashem yizbarach, even though they have been created by Hashem, einam nivrum be'etzem, ki abriya be'etzem heim Yisrael. Rak shebriya so umais nimshach achar briya etzem be'heim Yisrael. They're also there because of us. Ki ilu briya so umais mikre. It's b'mikra asher nimshach achar briya be'etzem. How do I know that? Shalakach, in the next paragraph, it says, Davka Yisrael nikra Bunim. Loimer heim habriya be'etzem. Was my Bunim atem la'Hashem alekeichem? Kaviyachol, an extension. What's a child? A child is you in the next generation. It's you in the future. An extension of Ben, your children. Bunim atem. Rabbi Wine, Zechrona Levracha, who just passed away, was just nifter. Chzog Gibra Alma, it's Kedai, it's the middle of his shiv, I want to say over. It's mamish matim for this Maharal. When the Eibishter created the world, he created a Tzuras HaAdam. That Tzuras HaAdam has a Tzelem Elokim. Yen Tzelem Elokim was the purpose of the Bria. It's the last thing that the Eibishter created. Gemara says the world was complete. The mezukt in Yiddish, fartig. It was a fartig, a world, everything the Berger created for that person. But that person was makalkal himself. He ate from the Eitz Hadas, was sent out of Gan Eden. Not only were he's makalkal, his kids made it even worse. His Kayin killed his Hevel. And then the next generations, Einik Dor Enesh, started serving Avodah Zarah. So Shen Gevein Shvichus Damim, and Shen Gevein Avodah Zarah. By the time 10 generations came along, Shen Gevein Gilu Arayis, and the world was completely fardorben. There was and says Chazal, Kodesh Baruch Hu says, Vayinochem Hashem ki boras ha'adam. Ki yetzer leiv ha'adam ram and urev. The kitoiv of the Bria, kitoiv, every single day is git. Ounce is git. Everything is git, is ounce gevorn schlecht. And the Tzuras HaAdam no longer looked like the man that was originally created. When the Eibishter saved Noach, people no longer identified with the Tzuras HaAdam. They're all called B'nei Noach. Shiva mitzvahs B'nei Noach means because at Tzuras HaAdam they don't have. Noach nishkein kan Yid. Noach wasn't Jewish. The first Jew was Avram Avinu. By Avram Avinu it says Ki Adam Atem. Atem Kriyim Adam. The first time that Adam could come back to the Bria and have Epis at Tzelem Elokim at Tzuras HaAdam was with Avram Avinu. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, until the Gemara says in Baba Metzia Pei Gimel, Shufra de Yankiv kein Shufra de Adam Arishan. Yaakov Avinu looks like Adam Arishan. Shteit B'Shem Ari HaKadosh and others. Yaakov Avinu looks like Adam Koidem Achet. Nicht Adam, no. Yaakov Avinu loy meis. Yaakov Avinu seht nicht aus wie Adam noch ein Chet. Yaakov Avinu, and that's why he becomes the father of Klal Yisrael. Through Yaakov Avinu, like we've been saying in this shir for many weeks already. Yaakov Avinu's Maila, he couldn't do it by himself. He did it with the accomplishment of Yitzchak, with the accomplishment of Avram Avinu. But together, the three of them, the greatest accomplishment of the Avos HaKadoshim was that they could bring back the Tzuras HaAdam to this world. That's why When you go, just coming from Eretz Yisrael, when you go to Maharal HaMachpelah, who's buried there? Who's buried? Adam and Chava, and all the people who fixed up Adam and Chava. Adam and Chava, who started off in Gan Eden and were kicked out of Gan Eden. They're the ones who are buried there first. Avram and Sarah, Yitzchak and Rivka and Yaakov and Leah, who are misaking the Tzuras HaAdam, they belong there because through them, the Tzuras HaAdam is tzirik. In this week's parsha, we're called Bunim atem l'Hashem anekechem. Mizenen zane kinder. My Rabbi Zechron Levrach, Rav Moshe Shapiro used to always say, the Gemara says, Shloisha shutfim ba'adam. Adam mitchave, when they had a child, the way the Eibishter created, there should be shutfis. Where you think the goyim have znus, and they do what they're doing, the Eibishter is a shittuf over there. We just had a Gemara in Avodah Zarah. The Gemara says that the Berger says, Loi dai, that they make me create kids that I don't want. Like a mamzer, the Berger doesn't want it. Aber sollst du wissen, my Rabbi said, by goyim, it's shrutzim. There's no shleisha shutfim. Shleisha shutfim is nor by Yidden. It's only by a Jew. By Inze Yidden is the Eibishter. When did that happen? That's called shiftei ka. That's called Yaakov Avinu, when he had 12 children. By Avram, he first had a Yishmael. Like it says in the Sfarim, that was the Klippa that went out. Nochdem is given Rein, then Yitzchak came. Yitzchak had an Esav, that was the chaff, that was the Klippa Nochdem Gekimena Yaakov. But it was specifically that something had to be cleansed. Yaakov Avinu, now Bunim atem l'Hashem alekechem. Now that Tzelem Elokim kum tzirik. Now that Tzuras HaAdam. The Rebbe had gesagt, when Yecheskel Hanovi saw a Mara, he saw v'demus Adam Yoshev al Kisei. He saw that there was a figure of an Adam, the Tzuras HaAdam, which the Eibishter created the world for. On the Kisei HaKavod, when the Malachim were going Oilim v'Yordim boy, they saw a face. Rashi brings down, which face did they see? Yaakov Avinu. Where did the neshamas from the Yidden come? From Kisei HaKavod. Because we're capable of giving kavod to the Eibishter. Our neshamas come from there. Who brought them down? Well, when the Eibishter created Adam Arishon, Vayipach Ba'apav, he put that type of neshama in him. But when the world of Gevarn Fardorben, when the world became ruined, that Tzuras HaAdam was not bringing down a neshama from the Eibishter anymore. That's what Rabbi Wein, Zechron Levracha, meant when he said, when Noach and the Rabbi Shem recreated the world, and the people that populated the world, they were no longer considered Bunim atem l'Hashem alekechem. They were no longer considered people who have the Tzelem Elokim. They didn't have it anymore. They ruined it. What are they? They have Epis Atzura, which is similar. A joke. The Goyim say that people come from monkeys. They make a mistake. They come from man, they became monkeys. Pink fakert. They went from the Tzuras HaAdam, it went in the other direction. They were at Tzelem Elokim. They became monkeys afterwards because they gave into their goof. So, says the Maharal, let's come full circle. Says the Maharal, who is it shaykh to say that is a connection, is a shaykhs that are called Bunim, nor someone with a Tzuras HaAdam. Atem kriyim Bunim. You're called because Atem kriyim Adam. Because you're called Adam. The fact that you're called Adam, Atem kriyim Adam, ve'ein umas ha'olam kriyim Adam. Thanks to Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, who was able to reconnect and bring a Tzuras HaAdam to the world. If they're Adam, then the Kinderlach are shitvim with the Adam is a shitv with the Eibishter, so you can have Bunim. How do these Bunim become shutvim? How do they become shutvim? Zok the Gemara, kol hamispalel be'erev Shabbos. You daven on erev Shabbos. The Rebbeinu Shem created the world for a reason. right? Soif Maise b'machshava tchila. Soif Maisa, what you see, the end is b'machshava tchila. Bereishis b'shvil Yisrael shenikra reishis. That there should be a tzuras ha'adam, was ken sich zistellen and do the rotzen of the Eibishter in this world. That's Klal Yisrael, when they can recognize and say over the Eibishter's words. Meaning, let's see the Maharal. We'll see it inside now. First of all, but their bria, because of what the Umas Ha'olam did to themselves, are no longer bria be'etzem. They're no longer the main purpose of the bria. They were when the Tzuras Ha'adam was all consolidated in one man. But no one in the world other than the Yidden look like that Tzuras Ha'adam. So they're not called a Bria Be'etzem. They're a Bria, but V'hine Ha'olu Be'etzem Moira Ala Ola. Zog the Maharal, the person Lakach Nikra Bunim, Keloimar. We're the reason and the purpose for the world. How did we get that way? Because we got back to Tzuras Ha'adam. That's the accomplishment of the Ovis. Since we're the purpose of creation, so we have the schus to say why the world was created. That's a edus that is saying that the Eibishter you created. Why? Because up until now, for 6 days, I did whatever I wanted. But now, Shabbos Hashem Elokecha. You look in a Jewish neighborhood on a Shabbos Kodesh. You look in a Jewish neighborhood, there's no cars. Nobody's walking around on phones. It's clear that it's not the same world. The Bria takes on a different form when Yidden are being Shomer Shabbos than in the Goyish Welt. We look different. I'm saying something very simple. We, every single person, we look, Baruch Hashem, we look like Jews. We look like Jews. Correct. In a Welt with Goyim. We get on planes, they get on planes. We drive, they drive. We go to business, they go to business. You go to the bank, they go to the bank. Okay, so we're different. Then comes Shabbos Kodesh. Not only we're different, the Welt is different. Our neighborhoods are different. You walk into a Jewish neighborhood on Shabbos, and you can feel it's not like the Goyish neighborhood. Nobody's driving. Everybody's dressed in a totally different, the way they dressed in the weekdays, the way they dressed on Shabbos, mit stramlach, with beketches, with suits, with this, white shirts, etc. The way they look during the week creates a difference now that on Shabbos, the Bria is different. It's Nishnor, they're different. The Weltzeita is different. When Shabbos complained, and Shabbos says, a Chomishken Zivug, I have no Zivug. What was Shabbos saying? What was he saying? So, Rabbi Gedaliah Shiur brings down a pshat that says, Sunday said I have Monday, Tuesday said I have Wednesday, Thursday said I have Friday, Shabbos. But what does that mean Sunday has Monday? How does Sunday have Monday? How does Tuesday have Wednesday? On Sunday, Yom Rishon Sigvein in the Bria Vayehi Erev Vayvorke HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Or. That was the expression of Yom Rishon. Yom Sheni, the Reina Shalom was Nasa Rakia. Yom Shlishi, he made Yekavu Amayim V'Siraya Bosha, and there was grass. Yom Revi, there was the sun and the moon. Every day has an expression of what was created on that day. Rabbi, what's the Geton Shabbos? How is Shabbos expressed in the world? The teretz is, it isn't. Only because we Jews keep Shabbos. The expression of Shabbos is through us. Imagine, Chulila, if nobody kept Shabbos. So for the whole world, everything would be the same every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Shabbos. You would know Shabbos. Where is Shabbos kontik? Where do you see Shabbos? How do you know? Because look, the Jew is different. So Shabbos's expression in the world, there is no other way that Shabbos is expressed in the world other by the fact that us Jews are keeping Shabbos. The whole mitzias of Shabbos in the Welt comes through us. That's what it means. We're the zivig of Shabbos. Sunday is Sunday by the bria that was created on Sunday. Monday is Monday, what was created on Monday. Tuesday is Tuesday because it was created on Tuesday. Aber was geschehen of Shabbos? Nothing happened. Adrabah, the Berger is kivay Shabbos. So that means to say that the bria takes on a new form because of Klal Yisrael. So we are the ones that show the world and make the world different. We're shutfim with the Eibishter. So we're shittif in Bria. This is the tifkai. Those are the lumdis l'chayra that the Maharal is saying of our level. Every day of the week, every Jew walks around and goes through his thing, but it doesn't make a change in the Bria. The Bria Zaytos, the Bria Zaytos, the world is where it is. Jews go on buses, Jews go on planes, they go to work. The Goyim are working, we're working. Yeah, this person's Jewish. Very nice. But the Bria isn't different. Then it comes Shabbos Kodesh. And then you see how the world doesn't look the same. Shabbos now has an expression because of Klal Yisrael. When a Yid kimt and he davens on Erev Shabbos and he's mekasher the weekday, that's what it means. He davens Erev Shabbos and says Vayechulu on Shabbos. When you say in the beginning of Kiddush,
so we don't say it on Friday.
When you say the beginning of Kiddush, Vayehi Erev, Vayehi Voiker, Yoim Hashishi, Vayichul Hashamayim Va'aretz. So if you notice, Vayihi Erev, Vayi Voiker, Yoim Yud Hashishi, Hey, Vayichulu Hashamayim. Yoim Hashishi, Vayichul Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Yoim Hashishi has a stempel of the Eibishter's name, Yud Kei Vav Kei, while the Yid macht Kiddush. Now, you're making Kiddush by Yechulu Hashemayim Va'aretz, and you're explaining how the world moved from Yom HaShishi to Shabbos Kodesh, and you're Mekadesh the Shabbos. You taka make the world a different world. Vayechila Hashemayim. Says the Maharal Nochazach. How did the Rabbi Shalom do it?
Maybe that's why they make the choice of Shabbos too.
Avada.
But they make the Friday go in the Shabbos.
Absolutely. 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 We macht mehr Shabbos in the Welt. Mehr Shabbos was no Hayid can this team.
Amateur Shabbos probably.
Early Shabbos.
That's what he means. Bad, ad kama that a Yid keeps Shabbos, like we said, if God forbid, Chas Shalom, there will be no Yidin keeping Shabbos, where would you see Shabbos? There will be Shabbos, but wie is this? Wie is this contact? Where do you see it? Where do you see it? You know why if all the Yidden would keep Shabbos, then Mashiach would come? Because the world would have that madrega. The world is waiting for us to do it. So then it would naturally then morph into a higher reality.
When they start weekend, when the Goyim start, they say this weekend.
When did they start?
Yeah.
Because you know what they did? Yeah. They took their Inzer Shabbos and made it for Sunday. That was the blue laws, right? They did it, they moved it over. Avada, in principle, they agreed with us, but they wanted to do it as if Fagoyisht, right? They did it their way. Al Koponim Rabbi side. Now, one more knech, and we'll stop over here. One more knech. When the Eibishter created the world, B'dvar Hashem Shamayim Nasu, with the dibur of the created the world, and he empowered a person, and he gave him a tzelem elikim. Your dibur can still noch machen the Eibishter's dibur. You can use your dibur the way he did. How? Vayichil Hashemayim Va'aretz. That's what the Maharal says. If you look behemshech over here, that's what the Maharal says. That when Klal Yisrael says V'yesh lefarish k'mashmai ki hakol nivra b'mayma yizbarach. A person, the world was created b'maymer. V'zeh shemei v'ray shadiber nikra maisa. V'yichulu hashamayim v'oretz v'chol tzvam. When a person uses his words on eres mekadesh the Shabbos and zogt v'yichulu, and he declares that this day is Vayichulu Hashem, the Eibush, you created everything, and now I'm listening to you, and you're the boss. So then the world takes on a Shabbostic look. So you finish the Bria for the Eibishter. You, by making Shabbos holy, and the world now looks Shabbostic, you finished off the Bria. Now you're using your Tzelem Elokim. This is what you were created for. A ben ken das ton. A kind ken das ton. A fremde can't do it. A zweite ken das nicht tun. Bunim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. You're the Eibishter's kids. You have a Tzelem Elokim. You can go ahead and make a difference. Akem sheshavas chayiv misa. He can't do it because you don't have a Tzelem Elokim. A goy can't do it. Even if he tries to do it, he can't do it. He can't make Shabbos into Shabbos. If he tries to do it, it's like he has no oxygen. He can't live in the mode of Shabbos. Nor a Yid can do that. You know why? Because Bunim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. And when you do that, you're a shittif for the Eibishter. So Maharal tak zoiche sein zu sein shittif for the Hashem.